Sure. Okay. So I have a dance business and it's focused around the adult ballet community. So I'm a teacher and I teach online. I have a YouTube channel. I teach offline. And recently I've been increasing my kind of online offering by making a course, which is where I needed your help because I'm really good at teaching, but I'm not so good at marketing and funnels and all of those things. So when I decided that I was going to make an online course, I thought this is the perfect time to get some help in my business because I've been doing everything myself for a long, long time. And my business wasn't like, it didn't really start in one moment. I kind of added different parts of it and then it kind of grew organically at the beginning. The first thing that I started doing was Instagram. I mean, that wasn't a business, but it was that was where I started to grow an audience, which later became the audience for my business. So
Right.
that was like 5 or 6 years ago now. And then in that same year, I started my YouTube channel. And of course, at the beginning, it wasn't really a business because it takes a long time to grow an audience and have enough videos so that you can start making money and enough watch time and all those different metrics that YouTube want to start paying you. But eventually that did become part of my business as well as teaching. But originally I was still teaching for someone else. Of course, I
Why
mean,
did you start the business? Because it sounded like you had some other income streams. You were working for someone as a ballet teacher within their structure, within their business.
yeah,
Um,
I think
what
I needed to do my own thing. There wasn't something, not in Madrid anyway, I'm sure that there are in other countries, but there wasn't something that was set up in the way that I wanted it to be set up. And really from the beginning, as I said, I started on Instagram in a way with my business and the the community grew from there. I mean, that's quite a long time ago now, 5 or 6 years ago, and Instagram has completely changed in that time. But when I started, there weren't really many people putting anything to do with an adult ballet journey on Instagram. It was mainly just professionals. But I think there was like, it felt like a slightly new movement and in focusing on ballet in a different way. And I wanted to be able to incorporate all of that into what I was doing, not just the teaching the ballet steps part. I wanted it to be more of a whole experience. I wanted the community to be a big part of what I was doing. I wanted to be able to teach in a way that made sense to me, having gone through that journey myself as an adult. So I'm a trained dancer and I have a degree in dance, I have a master's in dance anthropology, but I had a huge break from ballet and I didn't dance it for 16 years and then I came back to it at 25. And I think just having gone through that experience myself, there were things that I saw, this could be different or this could be easier for people or this makes more sense, and I wanted to be able to do that. So I guess the short answer after all that is control. I wanted to have control of the business. I wanted to have control of the client experience from like start to finish in whatever way that was, whether it was through my YouTube tutorials, whether it was through working with me in weekly classes, whether it was coming to one of my adult ballet holidays, whether it was coming to one of my workshops. So
can I ask you more about
yeah,
that?
of
Like,
course.
you mentioned that you noticed something that was like missing in like you mentioned Instagram specifically, like in
I think the main thing was just a huge shift in mindset from what professional ballet is to what ballet can be for a much broader audience, and just much more inclusive, much more accepting of the imperfection that is the reality when you're learning something. Because obviously ballet is absolutely one of those things that has a correct and an incorrect, and it can be very difficult if
you were like
from
you had an idea that you wanted to implement, and then you started to do it, and then you got frustrated with something specifically, and you're like, okay, like, what am I doing? Like, what was that thing? If there was anything, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just like a slow process, and you kind of.
Yeah, at that point it wasn't like, I don't think it was so much coming from like a pain point as such. I'd had those in the past. Another little like very very short story, at one point I tried to build from scratch on WordPress myself, having no coding experience whatsoever or any training in this. build a membership website, and I did it and I launched it, and then I was like, holy crap, I built a monster and I cannot maintain it. I cannot, and like I had to close it. So that was a hard lesson learned, and that was in 2019. So it wasn't this year, but the memory of that was still there for sure. And remembering like how much just time and energy and tears literally went into that endeavor, and realizing that, okay, if I want to launch this course online, I want to do it right, I want to do it properly. And I think starting to just take myself seriously as a businesswoman, which kind of seems silly because I'd been doing it for, you know, at least 3-4 years, as in like me running my own business fully. But taking myself seriously enough to be like, what I'm going to create in terms of what I'm going to teach in this course deserves as good a marketing, and I cannot do that. Not marketing, you know, like the whole thing, the whole package of how it's going to, from the audience perspective or from the client perspective, like from beginning to end, not only the part where they're doing the course, but the whole feel of the whole thing. And I think it was just a moment where I was like, I'm going to take myself seriously now, and I want to invest in this, because it's a way of like honoring what I do.
But what other surprises? It sounds like you weren't expecting that, like to be able to, you know, you thinking you're the expert and the, you know, but in reality, we both brought something to the table. What was the process like? Was it like hard for you to work with me? Were there any other surprises where you were like, was not expecting this?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
many surprises, which is, I mean, first of all, it's normal because it was the first time that I was ever working with someone on my business. So of course there are going to be surprises along the way. Some of them were like in the moment, good surprises. Some of them were more difficult surprises, but they all turned out to be good in the end. So something that I super appreciated was like you calling me out on my shit, basically, because I really needed that. And like, it's so funny that until someone's as what's the word? Like cares as much about the end result as you do, that people won't really call you out. They'll just be like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, charge what you want. Da, 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 da. But like, because you were invested, that's what I want to say. Because you were as invested in this project as I was, it was so good to like have you question me on all the things that I thought that I knew about my own business, and through the process of creating the funnel, and obviously like the pricing, for example, so many different moments along the way of like questioning how I do things, not just from the like funnel marketing perspective, but everything. Like, yeah, I mean, well, first of all, as I said at the beginning, that, you know, it was a scary, just financially first, it was a scary financial investment for me to make, because I had to, like I said, it was everything that I had at that time to invest in my business. It all went to you, and I knew it was going to pay off. I didn't know how long that would take, and in the end it took less than 2 weeks. So that was amazing, because it could have been like, you know, a few months and it still would have been an amazing investment, but it was like less than 2 weeks. So I was like, okay, this is really awesome, and this was the best decision that I made in my business. So that was really cool. And then of course, like after the 2 weeks, it's carried on selling. So super happy with the results of the course. And
So can I ask, would you recommend other people work with me in Amplifi Strategy?
yes, of course. I mean, from everything that I've been like raving about, I mean, I don't know if you know, but probably you know because you've already spoken to some of them. But I've already recommended you to some of my close friends who are also entrepreneurs, and of course, like I would recommend for anyone who is in that same position as me, and of course much further forward than I am in my business, but especially for those people who are like a little bit nervous, if this is the first time that you're thinking like, is it time in my business to do it? Obviously you need to make sure that financially it's viable, but if the main thing that's holding you back is just like, oh, I think I can do it myself actually, or maybe I'll try and teach myself this and do it that way, and why not? If you have the financial ability to do it, get it right the first time. And like I said, like I learned so much through working with you as well. So I've grown. It's not just been like, get this.